Hey everyone, it's Blake again with Northwinds Wilderness School. Welcome to a beautiful, warm, sunny day here at Northwinds campus. It's balmy here. I think it's in the mid-30s. We've had a couple of really, really cold days, and it's nice to be able to get out again and enjoy the weather. I'm sorry we didn't get a tracking video out last week. With the holidays, everything just got weird, and there was no way I was going to have time to get it done. But I think I've got a couple of cool things to show you today. And what we're going to talk about right now is a vole trail. A vole is a small animal that is primarily subterranean, but they're very much the size of a mouse. So every once in a while, their trails can be really hard to pick up. But I want to show you this trail, and then I'll also show you how I can tell it's a vole versus a mouse. So let's come right over here. You can see this little trail right here. You see footprint, right to this little tunnel opening where it goes under the snow. Here's another tunnel, and then you can see the trail goes to here where it tunnels in again. The trail comes out here, and then it continues on that way. And this trail goes all the way to here where you can see the animal went into the snow. You can see a bit of a hill here where the animal trailed underneath, and then it kind of disappears. So I'm not sure where the animal went from there. It could have gone deeper under the snow, and that would explain why the little hill disappeared. Otherwise, there's a little bit of damage right here where he could have come out, but I don't see any sign of a trail here. So I'm guessing he trailed further under the snow. And in fact, if you'll look at this weird zigzaggy line in the snow, that is very likely a vole trail. So the way we can tell that this is a vole versus a mouse is that they tunnel under the snow. The tracks are very hard to tell, especially with how washed out these are. But mice primarily will stay on top. They'll hop along on top of the snow and hide in the grass. Whereas a vole, who lives its life primarily subterranean, will dive down and tunnel under the snow as if it were summertime and it were tunneling in the dirt. So this isn't our primary topic for the day. I just saw it and I thought it was cool. And I thought you might like to see it. So this is a vole trail. Voles go under the snow and tunnel, whereas mice primarily stay on top. Alright, this is primarily what I wanted to talk to you about. This is a coyote trail that comes out onto our lake and kind of zigzags around. We're going to follow it a little bit to show you where it's coming from and where it's going. But what I want to show you is sort of how I can tell it's coyote. First of all, look at this track here. I'll try to shade it a little bit. Do you see how the snow sprays out this way? We can tell that the animal is moving this way. When you step, the snow sprays forward. And you can see the heel drag here from where the foot is coming down. So we know the animal is moving that way. And we also see a very, very narrow trail, which means the animal was probably moving fairly quickly. I wouldn't say full run, but maybe a trot. As the animal speeds up, the straddle width or trail width gets narrower. And here we're looking at less than a 6-inch straddle width. That's the distance from here to here laterally. So this distance is our straddle width or trail width. And we're looking, I was wrong, it's maybe 8 inches. So if it were a deer, it would be a little bit wider than that. When you look at a deer trail in the snow, it kind of looks like they're putting one foot directly in front of the other. But it's actually probably 8 to 10 inches wide. Whereas with a coyote, you could be in the 6 to 10 inch range. We also look at the gait pattern where as this animal is walking, you can see clearly the 4 feet per gait. All right, we're following this trail in reverse, but you can see this coyote goes here, comes along here, you can see, I apologize for the glare, there's nothing I can do, it's a really sunny day, over there, and then kind of zigzags back around, makes a loop-de-loop, and then comes along this way. And like I said, we're doing this in reverse. You can see that weird little crag there. The coyote comes back along here, crosses its own path, and then off into the distance he or she goes. And I'll see, we're on a lake right now, but I'm pretty sure it's frozen solid, so maybe we'll follow this for a little ways. As we look at the gait pattern here, we start to see some direct registering, but it's clearly not a walking deer where the rear foot is following into the track of the front foot. You can see some variation, which leads me to believe this is a side trot. You can see the 4 steps of the pattern are irregular, and they're all pointing forward with a slight cant to the right. So I'm going to say that this is a side trot of a coyote headed towards shore. I'm not sure what this animal was doing out here, but typically wild animals will move in a straight line from point A to point B, whereas domestic animals tend to wander. My theory is that this coyote was out here on the lake hunting for voles under the snow. All right, we're still tracking this thing backwards, but let's just see if we can follow it for a minute and find out where it came from. So you see, as we're following this, the trail width is getting narrower, the tracks are getting farther apart, and the gait pattern is normalizing. And the spray, as we talked about before, the spray comes out the front of the track. There's the front of the track. The spray comes all the way out to here. I think this animal is running. I mean, it's the same animal, sorry. But I think at this point it's running. And then as it got closer to shore, it slowed down to a trot. Now, you see gait pattern, trot pattern. Now, we're probably looking at 3-4 inches of snow on top of the ice here. This is an interesting gait. I think this animal doesn't really know what it's doing. Maybe it's just out here playing around, or maybe it saw something. Oh, it's about to get weird. I just found something. Oh, I can't wait till we get to this. You guys are gonna dig this. This trail doesn't go where I thought it did at all. look what we just came to. I would say this is atypical of a wild animal. Let's get closer and see if we can figure anything out. It kind of goes in a circle here. Sorry about my shadow. I'll try to stop doing that. Oh, look here. You see that? That tells us that this is a female animal who stopped here, turned in a circle, much like a domestic dog would, and peed. You can see the tail drag there. That's interesting. She was running along. Again, sorry about the shadow. She came from all the way over there, and if you see how that is almost... can I use my shadow here? Nope. It's almost a straight line to here. That's more typical of what you'd see from a wild animal. But then she comes to here, walks in a circle, squats down and pees, and then back the way we came. Now we know where she came from. I'm wondering if I can find a track that will actually show you claws and pads, but this snow is pretty powdery, so we may not be able to find one. Maybe the reason she was running out here is because she had to pee. Well, we followed that trail all the way to its end, and we never did find a track that had pads and claws in it. But this kind of goes to show you that sometimes you can identify a track or a trail by using the whole story rather than trying to identify one track. People getting caught up on identifying one track, looking for perfect palm pads, perfect toe pads, perfect claw marks, perfect measurements, are often going to miss the larger picture or the whole story. When you're tracking, the whole story is more important than each individual track, but we as trackers often forget that. So again, this is Coyote. I believe hunting for voles on a lake, even though we never found a track that is easily identifiable on its own as a coyote track, I'm very, very confident that that's what we're looking at here. If you have any questions about this, let me know. If you thought it was cool, let me know or share it with a friend. Thank you for watching. I hope you've enjoyed these last couple of minutes. I'll see you next time. My name is Blake with Northwoods Wilderness School.